All right, let's do this.
Hello and welcome to The Worst Movie Ever Made, an experimental movie podcast designed with one thing in mind, to find the worst movie ever made. I'm your host, Chris Ackman. I'm joined by my co-host and fellow mad scientist, Rob Scucci and Bob Hassick. Hey guys, how are you, and why are we doing this?
Bob, don't take this the wrong way, but fuck you. And then I think
Agreed.
That's all I have to say about this week. So basically, we always use different streaming services that we have at our disposal, and we've learned early on that the timestamps are different per platform. So I always get a Google Drive file that we could share, so we could like highlight the clips and download them, so I can put them on the soundboard. None of the versions we had this week had a speed up option, so I spent $3.18 on this movie so I could watch it twice as fast.
I wish I did that.
Yeah. If you want to watch,
this might be the worst movie I've ever made. I mean, I'm sorry to have suggested it, because
it is bad.
That is the. I mean, look at the star power in this movie. I mean, John Candy. I mean, come on. So it fits the profile of like something that was supposed to be good and ended up being not so good.
Wait, was John Candy Don?
He was.
No.
Well, maybe if it wasn't 2 times, you could recognize his voice.
Well, no, here's the thing. I watched it at regular speed the first 12 minutes, and then I thought if I keep watching it, I'll kill myself. So I heard the voice. And then I sped it up. No,
it was John Candy.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, Uncle Buck.
Yeah, I mean, that is star power right there. And Dabney Coleman, your man from, I want to say Ferris Gadget has a tool. What's that movie? Inspector Bueller. What is it?
He wasn't in that, was he?
Yeah, wasn't he the chief? Dabney Coleman was the chief who like told what's his face, Matthew Broderick, as Inspector Gadget to save cats out of trees.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
and you were like, "This guy's great. You should watch this movie that I still haven't watched because I'm terrible at that."
Right. You're right. Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay. I'll keep in my head that Dabney Coleman's cool," and that's how I know that I'm really disappointed in Dabney Coleman again, because here he is disappointing me once more.
Yep.
Only this time with horse teeth, as to draw some kind of parallel that they want for no reason.
He's a good actor, just not in a good movie.
Look at the size of the finger. That must be true.
He went through a rough patch.
All right, let's do some YouTube comments.
Okay. So these YouTube comments are actually from the movie I spent $3.18 on. I can't believe I rented this.
Was that you?
No, I didn't make any comments myself. Next comment, I pooped a little.
Okay. That
and then the last comment I'm saving for last for a very specific reason. Needed a really bad movie tonight. Who knows? Perhaps Howard the Duck next.
Whoa.
Oh, they're a fan.
And then there's more.
They must be.
There's more. Yes, bad, but some great animal actor work. Can't say as much for the human acting.
Yeah, I'm sure the horse knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
He wasn't just moving his lips so he can have a fucking...
He was licking peanut butter off the roof of his mouth.
He can lick some peanut butter, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know. I mean, I'm frisky tonight. Let's move into test number 1. The worst of its kind.
Here's the part where I screwed up. My soundboard was all messed up. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to add worst of its kind right now. And now I'm going to play it. Is this film the best of the worst or the worst of its kind? There you go.
The Great Outdoors. You guys seen this one?
Is that with the 96-ounce steak?
It could be.
Yes, I actually just watched that on my streaming service a few nights ago. Yes.
And he eats the whole 96er, and they're like, no, you got to eat all the fat too. And then
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
Oh, gross. Well, I haven't seen it. Sounds like you both have. That's John Candy, right?
Yeah.
It is.
41% Rotten Tomatoes.
Fair.
Police Academy, Michael Winslow, 57%.
All right.
This is my generation. Yes, totally.
Well, is Men at Work with Sheen and Estevez doing a little combo brother job your generation as well?
It is indeed. Yes, I love that movie, but not in a good movie kind of way, in a kind of a guilty pleasure kind of way.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. It got a 30. Or should we check it out?
Maybe.
No,
Definitely
we should
not
check
next
out.
week.
We should check
It's
out
not in
another
the poll.
stakeout.
Well, it's not the poll for next week. We'll see. We'll check in live later to see what wins the poll for next week.
Okay.
We have a couple of really fun options for next week, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Coneheads with Aykroyd, who I've never liked. You guys, Dan Aykroyd fans?
No, but fun fact about Coneheads, Chili Peppers on their Blood Sugar Sex Magic album, they had Under the Bridge as their single, and they left the song Soul to Squeeze off that album because it sounded too similar to the hit. And then they used Soul to Squeeze for this Conehead soundtrack, which has nothing to do with the movie.
Is Under the Bridge the one that goes, hello, hello?
No, that's Other
No.
That's what?
Other Side.
Oh, yeah, okay. Which one's Under the Bridge?
The one when they're like, under the bridge.
I never wanna feel that one.
Like I did that
Yeah.
day.
Exactly,
Okay.
that's it. No, Coneheads, in my opinion, was one of the few SNL adaptations that actually worked as a movie okay. I liked it okay.
35%.
It's got David Spade, it's got Chris Farley. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Chris Farley, I like. David Spade, not so much.
Yeah.
I know you have the whole senseless thing.
I have the whole like, what's he good in
Yeah.
problem. You know?
Stand up is what he's good in. Okay, he's good at stand up.
Well, all stand up is terrible. Just kidding. That's my hot take for the night.
Okay.
Caddyshack with Bill Murray and Chevy Chase. 73, so we're climbing here, guys. That's our last one. Giving us an average of 47.2. I'd talk more about Caddyshack, but everybody knows Caddyshack. Everybody's seen it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. 47.2 average. What do you think Hot to Trot came in with today?
4.
Oh God, yeah, 4 or 5.
Rob?
4.
0.
It's there with Gotti. It's down there with Gotti.
It had 16 critic reviews. A literal 0 is down there with Gotti.
A literal 0. Okay.
Wow.
So clearly the worst of its kind at negative 47.2%. I've already jotted it down. What a score. Heading into test number 2. Ain't that a pitch?
I got an idea for a movie and here's my pitch. I get a job and quit my band and you stop being a bitch.
Ain't that a bitch?
Haiku edition, again, because we enjoyed it. There's that big finger.
All right.
Impressive fingers, Bob. Those are
If only I had played bass like Rob.
or piano with those.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Haiku edition. So who's going first?
I want to get mine over with because I hate this movie. Okay. Bobcat has a horse. Fun with insider trading. Man with teeth meddles.
Accurate. Who's next?
I'll go next. Okay. Mine is horse racing movie. No, it's actually not about horse racing.
All right. I like how you enjammed the second and third line.
I did.
Yeah.
I enjammed.
You enjammed horse
Nice.
enjambments.
Nice 12-parter, you cheater.
I'm gonna write down equestrian enjambments.
Sick. I like it. All right, so I'll go. Are you ready?
Ready.
This is going to be really something. Fake voice for a horse. So too for the lame bobcat. Shame to all wildlife.
All right, I vote Chris. I vote Chris immediately.
Yeah. And I'll give you 5 for that. Fuck it, I don't care. This movie sucks.
I'm going 3 just to lower the average.
Okay, 4. 4.
Just to be clear, I wouldn't make it, but that was a great pitch.
Great pitch.
Right, so we won't make it, but I'm going to jot that down. It's a 4-star.
Yeah.
Chris would not make. All right. Hey, test number 3. Let's get into it. The worst dialogue.
This is not the greatest
Dialogue.
song in the world, no. This is just
Some bullshit.
I love when he says song and then you say dialogue. It's not even, it doesn't even replace song.
Nope.
It's so awesome though. It's so perfect for us.
Yeah.
All right.
Lack of effort's always funny.
It is funny. Number 10. This is Fred. If you don't know, that's Bobcat Goldthwait. I'm gonna always hesitate with that because I'm not sure that I got it right every single time. Did I get it right?
Perfect.
Okay. Fred says, "Do you want a hamburger?" And Don goes, "No. Do you want a people burger?" You know, it doesn't work because hamburgers are not made of horse.
No.
It doesn't work. Exactly.
It doesn't work at all. So there, movie. That's number 10.
Yeah.
Number 9. This is Don the horse saying, "Do you know what I think? Do you want to know what I really think? You're going to need a bigger scooper." Because he's walking him along the street and he's going to poop. And it's really funny because there's more poop than he even realizes with his giant poop scooper.
More poop than he could handle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I laughed really hard and I wrote it down because I was like, that's super funny.
Yeah.
Allison. Do you guys know who Allison is? Because I don't care.
Isn't she the one that comes to check out his penthouse?
Yeah, she's the
And
blonde.
Don won't talk. Yeah, her.
She's the blonde that would. Go ahead, Bob.
Oh no, I was just saying. Oh yeah.
Well, throw all the oh yeahs you want because I like them. Sultry sounds from Bob over there with the oh yeahs. Yeah. Allison would never be interested in Bobcat. And Fred, right?
Is it because the mullet, the Canadian tuxedo, or the speech impediment? You can only pick one.
And the lack of, I don't know, conversation skills.
Yeah.
Also, like, what does he have going for him other than the chance at money?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay. So Allison says, "There's a horse in here," and Fred says, "Where? You know, if it's not cockroaches, it's Palomino." Which, by the way, so what he's saying is if you don't have cockroaches in your apartment, it's horses.
Yeah.
But Don is not a Palomino.
No.
He's also not a Palomino. I looked it up just to be sure that they were fucking up in every conceivable way. At number 8, and they were. So that's not a Palomino. You can look it up for yourself. It's like kind of a light tan horse with like a blonde, what do you call that? A mane? A blonde mane. So inaccurate, not funny. I hate this movie. Number 7 is a clip. We're going to Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed, here we go.
Yes.
Oh, fresh air. Then where was I? Oh, yeah, I speak human, giraffe, worm, toad, whale, humpback, and sperm. You might say I'm a four-legged Dr. Doolittle.
So, Don, do all horses speak English?
What, are you kidding? Look, all horses can understand English, but only the chosen can speak it.
What about, like, Mr. Ed?
Mr. Ed? Ooh, that's what I think of Mr. Ed. Every single word of that was dubbed.
His lips were, like, moving.
Look, you'd move your lips, too, if some stagehand was shoving a carrot up your butt, Mr. Ed.
Oh wow, wow, wow.
Well, so did you guys have a chuckle at that one?
No.
Of course not.
Well, I thought when you said "I speak worm," like that was super funny. No, not funny at all.
super funny.
No, it's not funny to me because I don't go home after work and just color. You know, that's like finger paint. I don't. You know.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, absolutely pathetic. And the thing about while I'm here, Fred should be like lovable, right? The thing that we need to feel about Fred for this movie to work at all is that he's an idiot, but he's a lovable idiot, and like we can understand why Allison is interested because he means well. He has a good heart. He is a charitable, kind soul who just needs a little direction, maybe, and Allison wants to be there for him.
Yeah.
But they do not hammer that home at all.
Yeah, he's unappealing to all five senses, I imagine.
I agree. And here's something unappealing to taste, one of those five senses. Fred says at number 6, my linguinus is very, very good. And Allison says, it's linguini. And he says, just smell like spaghetti. I actually had to ask you guys what he said. And then I had to ask my wife what he said. And then I had to ask my priest what he said. And and then my math teacher told me that he meant tastes like spaghetti.
Wow. That's some deep research.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually clipped it and sent it to you guys because I was like, I have no idea what he just said. It took me.
I knew you'd be coming in hot because you were taking screen captures of the movie like 2 days before the show and just sending them to me like mad.
Can you tell that I'm angry? Is that coming through?
Your impression was actually pretty spot on, though, I'll have to say.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll keep it going. Next Fred line that I have, I'll keep it going.
Yeah.
But I don't right now because Don says to Fred. Well, sort of. He says, "Oh, Mom, I can't ask him that. She wants to know what it's like to face someone during sex." At that moment, I like in today's speak, I cringed so hard that I think I twirled up like one of those like slap wristbands.
Yeah.
You know that you just like you hit your wrist and it just go around your wrist.
Yeah.
That's what my body looked like when I heard that line. I went tumbling through my house, almost knocked over my kids because I was so upset by that line. Ugh.
So this movie basically stole your bones from you.
I was liquid.
Yeah. Okay.
It was liquid and livid liquid at this point.
Livid liquid.
Oh, there you go. Get out of the
You made the cut, dude.
While you're at it, number 4.
Okay.
Because it only gets even worse somehow. Number 4, Don says, "You can't win this race," as he's running. You know why? You know why? I'll tell you why. Because of the wonderful things I've done, as he goes through the finish line. It's not number 1 because it doesn't have the effect. You can't tell how bad that is unless you really inspect. This is the writing room having an extreme struggle to come up with a good, I'm going to cross the finish line and win and get my buddy the money he deserves kind of line, right? Like, this is the culmination of the movie.
It's really bold of you to assume there was a writer's room.
Well, all right, fair enough. Yeah, there might not have been. It might have just been Dabney Coleman and Bobcat Goldthwait just doing coke in the background. And, you know, they had a quill or something. I don't know. Yeah. Because of the wonderful things I've done in the Wizard of Oz harmony.
Yeah.
Is what they settled on.
Right.
It doesn't deliver anything other than disappointment.
Yep.
Number 3 is a clip. I'm going to take a little breather while we go to a clip called "Are You Serious?"
Fred, is that you? Thank God you're home. Just a second. Just a second. Hold on to your horses. Huh?
Can I tell you the best part about that? Is
Yeah, please.
even the shittiest movies still have, you got to have like a pro audio engineer.
Yes.
So there's some dude sitting on Pro Tools, or even worse, like reel-to-reel tape, because this was the 80s, sitting there at the sliders, like making sure like the and the were at the same level, make sure they were panning correctly, and sitting there with a straight face doing it for about 10 hours.
If it was you, straight face, doing that for 10 hours, would you include as much growl between woofs?
Yeah.
On the dog in the hallway?
I think if it was just like a contract job and I was going to get the same amount of money either way, I would throw in extra noises that didn't need to.
I feel like I would have subtracted the growl because as a viewer, I wanted to get that dog a medic. Like I wanted there to be like a stretcher in the hallway, pulling that dog away, bringing him to the most immediate. Oh, there we go. This is why I can't do sideways.
No, I agree. I agree with Chris though, because if they aren't padding for time, there's no way they're adding that much growl between the snarl, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of snarl. Ton of snarl.
Fair.
Too much snarl. I don't even have that much snarl, and look at how mad I am.
Yeah.
You know? All right. So number 2, we have 2 left, and boy, are they doozies. I'm going to try not to knock into my desk, I'm going to call it, so that my phone doesn't fall over again. It's totally not a desk, but number 2. This is Don again. They're in the race. Don gets horses to run off the track, right? With his mind games.
Yeah.
Because he's such a good talker. Which means the writers have to flip that bill. They have to be able to write lines that you would believe another horse, upon hearing, would sidetrack themselves and run off out of the race against their jockey's will. Right?
Yeah.
Don gets this horse to run off the track. The second place horse, by way of laughter, with this joke. Hey, heavy reins. What do you get when you have 12 donkeys on your front lawn? Fertilizer. Fucking kill me. Fucking shoot me. Fucking put a bullet in my balls. I don't deserve them. I watched this movie.
Yeah.
Bad news. It's bad news all the way through.
This is a bad episode for me. I'm sorry. I told you I'd be in rare form.
Oh, you're good.
Your sound is good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm angry.
For a podcast, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Number 1 is a clip. It's called Horsefly.
Quit sniveling. Everything will be fine.
Well, that's easy for... Is that you, Lord?
Oh, you stupid son of a bitch. It's me.
Dad, is that you?
Of course it's me. So much for the glamour of reincarnation.
Dad, you're a horsefly.
Ooh, I'm a horsefly. Ooh, I didn't notice. Well, that would explain those crappy little wings. Why I've been buzzing around piles of manure all day and leaving little fly shit droppings wherever I go. Thank you for solving that mystery, Sherlock.
Pop, am I glad to see you. I got a real problem. I don't stand a chance of beating those other horses.
Why not?
They're all professional athletes, Pop. I've always been more of a couch potato, you know.
You can do it. You're a horse, just like they are. They have hooves. You have hooves.
Oh,
They
yeah,
have
but...
legs. You have legs.
Oh, sure, but their legs work.
Son, you have something they don't have. A big mouth. You can win this race.
Do you really think so? Gee.
Absolutely.
You're right, Pop. You're absolutely right. I can win this race.
Damn right. Now, who's gonna run this race?
I am.
And who's gonna win it?
I am!
That's the spirit.
No offense, Pop, but what's it like being a horsefly?
It sucks.
For $3.18. For $3.18, I could have gone to Wendy's, gotten a double stack. I could have been refrigerated improperly, like the burger meat. I could have gotten food poisoning 2 days later and had 5 hours of diarrhea, and it'd still be better than that one sound clip.
You made the right choice. By the way, for anyone that has not checked out our social media yet, that clip without the sound is in our trailer.
Okay.
So, John Candy plays a horse whose father in the movie is a horse, obviously, who dies and is reincarnated as a fly, who comes into the stable just before the giant race for all the money, and gives him advice, which isn't advice, because he just says, you have legs. And the John Candy horse is like, yeah, I do. And he's like, okay, I hate being a fly, and I need to find out a way to do this better. Okay, wait, hold on. I think I have a way. Yeah.
Okay,
that's right.
I'm gonna spitball in here. If he had that pep talk in the penthouse, and there was a fish tank, and there was a fish, or seahorse fish, sea fish horse, would that be funnier?
Yes. Literally any combination of anything else would have been funnier than that.
Okay.
Only if they called it a horsefish. Good job, Rob.
Horsefish. Yeah. You know what I meant, though. Language is about conveying meaning, and you know the curly fish guy.
If you weren't a writer, I would be much more disappointed.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Rob, I think you do a fantastic job. And I can't wait to hear your ad read. But after, that's number 4, the worst production.
The worst production. The worst production. Put your Holly to work. The worst production. The worst production. Make my statement go berserk.
I got a copyright takedown for that bumper last week.
No shit.
I had to dispute it. It's fine. It's fair use. But like,
good.
Of all the things that like, we were playing like minute-long movie clips, but like that one part of a song from Grease 2 that had like other things spliced over it, that was the red flag.
You can't mess with Grease 2.
Yeah, I know. Honest to God, like, I mean, look out, because Olivia Newton-John passed yesterday, and Grease won, or should I say, Grease is gonna. All those red flags gonna come flying up, but I think you should be okay. That's not gonna.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't imagine though.
Yeah. All right, so the worst production. So once again I had an issue with this one because I was thinking to myself I'd say the first 20 to 30 minutes, like, this movie is just bad in general, and there's nothing aside from just making it in general that makes it a worse production. But then I had a thought. It's doubtful that a different actor or different director would have made any difference in this movie. Writing and marketing this movie to an adult audience is where they failed. Now, this is 1987, 88.
88.
Okay. So at this time, so first of all, if they cut out the language and the sex references, which there were plenty, and marketed this toward kids or toward families somehow, I don't know, it wouldn't have failed as badly as it did. Maybe it would have succeeded, but maybe even forgiven for its mishaps, because, you know, no one expects kids' movies to be good. Now, back in 88, there weren't a whole lot of kids' movies that were hitting mainstream theaters. Like, I want to say Pee-wee's Big Adventure came out like the year before. And that wasn't even necessarily marketed toward kids, because Pee-wee Herman at that point was an adult comic. And he was marketed toward adults, because so there wasn't, I was speaking from experience, except for Sesame Street and like the Muppet Show. And even the Muppet Show was toward adults. there wasn't a whole lot geared toward kids at that point. So if they had marketed this toward kids and not toward adults, I think it may have actually passed the failure that it had actually, engaged in.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair because it is a kids movie, but they draped it in all sorts of horrifying next test kind of stuff. Because it's extremely offensive. I can't wait to get into it. I can't believe we haven't spilled the beans on the next test, but you're right. I mean, it's a kids movie, but it's completely bogged down by adult jokes that they thought they needed to reach a wider audience, right? Like, that's really the problem.
Yeah, and credit to me for not spoiling your next test.
Yeah, you didn't hit that bingo card moment.
Yeah, I didn't.
Not yet. You haven't ruined a later segment yet. Congrats,
Not. It's a first for me. I'm congratulating myself.
Well, I'm congratulating you too, because it helps me. All right. So I'm going to jot down. How do you want me to rate this?
I would say marketed towards adults rather than kids.
Yeah.
I agree with it. Okay, I need to take. Goddamn this fucking sideways setup. I don't know why vertically it's so much better. Okay, so Geostorm.
Sorry. Sexual reference. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's cool. I jotted it down, and we will talk about the difference between that and Geostorm's worst production when we get there. For now, Rob, why don't you hit your ad read, and then we can throw it to a massive most offensive test.
Okay. So I had copy sent to me from Bobcat himself. And I'm just going to read it out loud for you guys. Spaghetti.
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 So I don't know what he's trying to sell, but I'll talk to his people and I'll plug it into the description.
Well, I mean, we got the spaghetti part, so it probably has something to do with Newman's Own, I would guess.
Yeah, probably.
If you're trying to stick with our social media, you would have ended with Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, yeah. Is that what's trending right now? Is that the hashtag for this week?
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. She's
always trending.
She's in a new movie coming up.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't.
Is it My 600-Pound Life, the movie?
Oh shit. No, it's a new car. Everyone has one under their seat.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Speaking of offensive, test number 5, the most offensive.
Don't call me faggot, Jew.
Eric, did you just say the F word?
Jew? No, he's talking about kissing Bob is going
Kyle!
well, nice.
Eric!
Dude, you just said it again.
Stanley! Kenny!
What's the big deal? It doesn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to re-rig my setup so that my phone doesn't fall over again.
All right.
Because that's what I use, my phone, not a fancy laptop like you guys. Number 1, Da Vinci's Man giving Bobcat a swinging thwang.
Yeah.
In the beginning, they gave him like a meaty 4-inch flaccid on Da Vinci's Man, like, which is not how it's intended, you know?
Yeah.
I found that offensive. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. It's up there.
Number 2, I convinced a blind man I was a short, hairy Italian man. That's a blind joke from the horse.
Yeah.
Really bad.
It's not funny to joke about making a blind man see something he can't, you know? Like,
Yeah. I'll give you that.
Number 3, the horse stable fuck room. What's that about?
Yeah, that was weird. You mean like when the bucktooth guy was like bringing his mistress to the stable to lay some pipe?
Well, not
like-
just not just him, but other people did too, right?
Yeah, it was like a common thing.
yeah,
On Wall Street, you do some blow, then you fucking a horse stable, I guess.
Look, that's why I said the horse stable fuck room. It wasn't it wasn't just his. It wasn't Horsetooth Man's only. It just seemed like, hey, if you want a good fuck, well, you got to just go next to this horse. Which leads to a catch-all moment later, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
A blow-up sex horse.
Yeah. Like what's
Like,
the,
Really bad.
what's the audience for that like product? Because like humans had to manufacture it, right? But humans don't know these horses are being like intelligent beings that can speak multiple languages.
Right.
So a sex doll manufacturing company had to have gone, let's make some horse-shaped ones on the off chance our equestrian demographic might want to practice.
I really
go out
hate to
to
say
stud.
it. Yeah, I hate to say it, but those people exist. There is a market for it.
Yeah.
It's
I've seen the
just
Real
not-
Doll documentary, so I know what you're talking about. It's fair.
But Bob, it's not something I need in my kids' movie.
No, exactly.
All right, here's a quick one. Why bet all of your horses?
Yeah.
A Horsetooth guy, what was his name? Was it Walter?
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares exactly?
Bet all his horses against Fred
Yeah.
for literally no reason.
It's called hubris, and it did not belong in this movie because like the characters weren't that deep.
Okay, moving on. How about the Samurai Florist Shop?
Oh,
Can
I knew you'd mention it. Go ahead, go for it.
Can I do some voice work?
Yeah.
So Don's trying to order flowers for whatever her name is, like Silver Bullet or whatever,
Yeah.
And he calls the Samurai Florist Shop, and he's like, "Yeah, I'd like to order some flowers." And then the guy on the other line goes, and he's like, "No, I can't have any roses. They'll get stuck in her teeth." Like, seriously, that's the joke in the movie, which is extremely un-American to be that racially discriminating. I don't know. I just was immediately offended by that.
You can say racist. It was very racist.
Wasn't it? Yeah, I think so. I don't know what a samurai actually sounds like, and I don't know a single samurai that owns a florist shop. Probably doesn't sound like that though.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a throwback to an old SNL skit. Do you remember John Belushi used to do the samurai skit?
Yeah.
Well, he did one skit called Samurai Florist, and he took his big sword and like cut flowers like with like a samurai. I feel like that's what it was a reference to, and it was unfortunately 10 plus years too late to be funny.
Yeah. I mean, even then, like you can have an inner debate whether or not you want to laugh at that, but now there is no debate.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got two more, and then I'll take mentions as always. But Don is running up to a particular horse. He catches up to it. He says, "Pablo's Pride." I'm paraphrasing now. Okay, the immigration people are checking green cards at the finish line. Because it's Pablo's Pride, because they're Hispanic and they clearly don't live here because they're illegal, and that's funny. I do have one more that's more offensive than anything we've ever done on this podcast. It's a clip. Play it for you. I think we should play it twice, Rob, so that they can really hear it. This is called F Word.
Take one.
I enter him in the El Segundo Stakes. He'll beat the crap out of any plug they can put up against him.
Oof, is this place ripe or what? Hey, there's your partner's newest thoroughbred. Faggot.
Yeah. Wait here. I gotta go pay for your feed.
Check.
Must have cost.
Take two.
I enter him in the El Segundo Stakes. He'll beat the crap out of any plug they can put up against him.
Oof, is this place ripe or what? Hey, there's your partner's newest thoroughbred. Faggot.
Yeah. Wait here. I gotta go pay for your feed.
Checked.
Must have cost.
Real quickly, Chris, there was one more YouTube comment I didn't read. I didn't write it down, but it was just a clickable timestamp for like 12 minutes and 37 seconds, and it was that.
Yes. Okay, so someone else caught that. It's not just us.
Yeah.
I will not utter that word here. It is the speech of Mordor, and I will not bring it into Rivendell. It is absolutely fucking ridiculous that they felt the liberty to use that word in a family movie.
Yeah.
I have never been more offended by any movie I've ever seen, and we'll leave it at that unless you guys have mentions. And actually, we will not leave it at that because we have a little mini game later. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But if you guys have anything you want to mention before test number 6,
Nothing.
That's worst acting, right?
yeah. Oh, well, I'm just asking if you want to mention anything.
I've got nothing, but I'm also stalling because my soundboard's all messed up.
Okay.
I got nothing.
Well,
Ready to go?
Test number 6. The worst
It's a mess. I
Test
apologize.
number 4. The worst acting. Naturally, we'd use the Catwoman thing for this run. Yeah.
All right.
I hope you guys are ready for a couple of clips. This, the first one here is called Lifelike.
Will you hate me in the morning?
No, I hate you right now.
May I come in?
Good night.
Thank you. This is nice. Look what you've done with this place. Ooh, what a neat statue. This is beautiful. And so lifelike.
Yeah, it's like that even after I go swimming.
What did you say?
I just got that.
I said it's like that even after I go swimming. Toots. Was it something I said?
What was bad about that?
John
Should have been the most- It should have been
Candy
most
Graham
offensive.
this one. Go ahead.
No, I said it should have been most offensive. That one for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's a like bestiality penis size joke, right?
Shrinkage joke, yeah.
That was John Candy doing a Candy Graham mailing it in performance. I don't think he gave two shits about this movie, and rightly so.
No.
There are performances from John Candy where I really feel like he's doing a great job. There are performances from John Candy where I'm like, man, he doesn't give a half a shit about what he's doing right now. This is one of them.
Yeah.
I feel like he really cared in Cool Runnings. I feel like he even cared in Home Alone 2.
Planes,
You know,
trains, and
where-
automobiles, man. Like, how do you go from that to this?
He knew what he was doing. He just took the paycheck and he fucking mailed it in for sure. It's awful, but yeah, it's also offensive. He might as well have thrown it in.
Yeah.
Our second clip of the worst acting is called "The Window."
Hi, Mr. Cheney. What are you doing out there?
Open the window.
Come back in here. Really, you can hurt yourself out there. I brought a tuna fish sandwich. Which do you want, fry or whole wheat?
Open the goddamn window.
What?
Open the window.
Fry or whole wheat?
Fry! Open up the window.
Really, Mr. Cheney,
The window.
Ready?
little financial trouble? Maybe we should talk soon.
What's with the wailing harmonica between every scene?
Oh, I hate it.
Check your bingo cards. That's coming up later in the catch-all.
Wailing harmonica.
No.
Yes. Yeah, we gotta add that in.
We are gonna add that in. I will talk about stuff like that. But the joke where she doesn't understand what he's saying from the other side of the window when you can clearly hear him.
Yeah.
Like from her perspective, she's just too dumb to understand that he's like dangling at the side of a building.
Yeah.
I don't know. How many times has that been done?
Too many.
Yeah.
By this point, it's not funny at all, but it's also like you cannot act that out in a believable way.
No.
Like, hey, I know you're on the other side of a window, dangling on the side of a 90-foot drop on our corporate building. But do you want wheat or do you want whole grain? Because I made you 2 different tuna sandwiches, which no assistant ever does.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Next clip, tough on him.
You got it.
So, Mike, what makes you feel that you're the man to ride me? I mean to ride Dawn. Ha, ha, ha.
Because I know how to handle these animals.
Well, what do you mean, Mike?
Well, you gotta be tough on 'em. Yeah, let 'em know who. Boss, you see, people think horses is wonderful animals. Let me tell you, they're the dumbest shits you'd ever put on the face of this earth.
Hey, watch what you're saying, butthead.
What did you call me?
Nothing! I called you a butthead, butthead. And what are you gonna do about it, butthead? Come on, you little wimp. Take a swing. I dare you.
This is the first time I had a visceral effect something because you're just hearing the dialogue and not seeing the video.
Yeah.
And men and women got into booths. And like whether it was Don's character or live action, and like they read those lines.
This was about as disappointing a performance as Hollywood could put on for me.
Yeah.
The fact that any studio greenlit the kind of funding for this, and I'm struggling to buy formula.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I cannot get over. So Bobcat Goldthwait is mouthing, and not even, it looked like they hadn't rehearsed it a time or two. I don't know if that was supposed to look like Bobcat, like Fred didn't know what he was about to say. I have no idea. But it is as ineffective a funny joke as I've ever seen in my movie watching. I guess I can call it a career, because here we are. We're movie critics. We're comedians now, guys. I don't know if you know about that. But here we are, critically analyzing this movie. And after 59 episodes, well over a year, I have never felt that disappointed by an attempted joke. And I carry this sadness now. It's like a backpack that I'm going to have on my person for the rest of my life, because I've watched this.
The reprised version of the things they carried when they're talking about, like, the actual thing the soldiers carried, like their guns and their grenades and their canteen, but also the weight of the war. And like they're gonna add an addendum for you carrying hot to trot in your back pocket.
It's a phantom weight that I will carry with me forever. Yes. That's exactly what I mean. I will never recover from this. It is PTS cheese. and I just want to pass the mic while I try to recover. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Why don't I pass it with fact or no fact?
Ooh. My favorite thing where I lose every time. Here we go.
The worst movie ever made presents Fact or No Fact.
It is fact or no fact, the segment where we decide if something is a fact or not a fact. So I have 5 information pieces that are either facts or lies, complete lies. So we are talking about the movie Hot to Trot, which is I know it's a Bobcat Goldthwait vehicle, but in my personal library, it's a Gilbert Gottfried vehicle. Anyway,
Yeah.
starting with number 1, Tim Burton. You know Tim Burton, right? The guy that
Of
did the
course
first. Tim Burton wanted to direct this film after he finished Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but the studio did not think he would make it funny enough. It's a
It would
comedy.
have been better.
All right. Second, Gilbert Gottfried was hired and cast to do the voice of the horse, but the audience hated it so much in like the what do you call it, the
Like the test
Test
audience.
runs,
Test
so
screening.
like
test audiences,
yeah.
that they gave him a cameo instead. He was replaced and they gave him a cameo as a dentist. Third, John Candy had said that this is one of the most funniest roles he ever played, and blames the lack of success on the fact that the hype surrounding this was replaced by other action movies coming out at the same time.
Okay.
Okay. Fourth, in order to get the horse to talk, the crew members had hit the horse with a stick to make it move its mouth.
Oh God,
Okay.
I hope not.
And the last one, this was actually Bobcat's real singing voice in the Tutti Frutti song in that one scene. Okay, so our 5 information pieces are: Tim Burton wanted to direct, Gilbert Gottfried was originally the horse, John Candy thought this was amazing, the horse would talk when it was hit, and Bobcat actually sang Tutti Frutti.
Okay. I'm torn between Gilbert Gottfried and the Tutti, because people that do stupid voices are capable of doing many voices. In regard to the Tutti Frutti song, so like it's not far fetched. But Gilbert Gottfried does have an insanely grating voice. That, I mean, it's like nowadays it's like an institution, and it's funny. And there's that college humor thing of him reading 50 Shades of Grey. That's amazing.
Good.
When you're test screening at like a kids or a childish movie that has adult themes in it, I could see why test audiences would be pissed off at his voice. So I'm gonna throw my chips on. I'm gonna throw my horses on Gilbert being the fact.
Okay. For me, I'm torn between Tim Burton's direction not being funny enough. I mean, we're going for fact here, Bob. Correct? We're trying to find the fact.
Correct.
I feel like Burton might not be funny enough, but I'm also feeling like Candy might have been pretty defensive about this, because I think he might have thought these jokes were pretty funny. I hope not, because it's going to really damage the image of John Candy in my head if he thought this was really funny. Gottfried as the horse against Bobcat as the lead would have been, no offense to Gilbert Gottfried, but it would have been somehow more unwatchable. I found the fact that a talking horse against Bobcat Goldthwait was like, I found that was so hard to watch that I cannot imagine if Gilbert Gottfried was the voice of the horse. I'll go with Burton wouldn't have been funny enough.
Okay, so interesting enough, Chris. I don't know if you guys know the artist. No, I can't think of his name right now. Danny Elfman. Do you know Danny Elfman?
Yeah,
Yes.
Oingo Boingo and the Mystic Knights, man. It's cool.
Yes. The the Mystic Knight of the Oingo Boingo. He actually did the score for this movie.
Right. Okay.
And he also did the score for Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's worked with Tim Burton before.
So it's a parallel thread. Okay.
He's worked with Tim Burton on almost everything.
Yeah, right.
And unfortunately, Tim Burton did not direct this, although he was invited to direct this, but he said no way in hell.
It's not because he wasn't funny enough?
Right. It's because he said no way.
Oh, so you just wanted to tell me right up front that I was.
I did, actually.
Oh, this is becoming personal. This is personal.
No.
This is Bob Foolery.
Yep.
I guess it's Bob Foolery enough that I just felt like I wanted to say that right away because I have so much respect for Tim Burton and for Danny Elfman. Yeah. I'm really sorry. Oh, there goes Chris's fingers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Also, I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that I am a top tier, nearly, I can't think of the word right now, but a Gilbert Gottfried fanatic that I had to include him in this fact or no fact because I am such a fanatic of Gilbert Gottfried. No,
okay,
he did not voice the horse.
Okay.
The voice of the horse was actually Elliot Gould. You guys know Elliot Gould?
I can't put a face to the name, but it sounds familiar.
Elliot Gould was the original BG Honeycutt in or not BG Honeycutt in MASH. In the original MASH movie, he was, I forget the name of the actor or the character, but Elliot Gould was also in modern pop culture. He was Will and Grace's Will's dad, I think.
Oh, yep. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. He was originally the voice of the horse, and he got test audiences threw him out. They didn't like him.
Okay.
Fair enough.
John Candy, I made that up totally.
Yeah, no shit.
Okay.
And Bobcat's real voice is actually melodic, but unfortunately not the singing voice in Tutti Frutti.
Okay.
In order to get the horse to talk, the crew members did hit the horse with a stick.
Holy shit.
So here's where I got that information from. Bobcat did an interview on Gilbert Gottfried's podcast with before Gilbert Gottfried passed away, and that's where I got that information from.
I cannot believe that. But that makes this movie even more offensive, even worse.
Isn't the main move like to get them to like their mouth is just give them peanut butter and they're like kind of like in their mouth for a minute?
Right.
So according to Bobcat on the interview, he said, "I hated that fucking horse."
Wow.
So I guess the horse did a really. I mean, it's a horse. I mean, what are you gonna do? I guess the horse was really difficult to work with, and yes, the crew didn't know what else to do other than hit it to make it move its mouth.
There's a common thread. Biggest problem, the host Maddox, he hated horses. And the audio engineer Sean also hates horses. The rapper Aesop Rock, I follow him on Instagram. He does AMAs all the time. And people always like, why is there so much horse imagery in your song? And he's like, because they're fucking awful animals and they're easy to sing about. Random notes, and people just don't like horses.
I guess not.
Those are a few cherry-picked examples, but I've heard many more, and it just seems to be a common thread.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, on our quest to win Fact or No Fact, we are still losing on the whole. I might have won last week, but who cares?
You're still winning, Chris.
Yes, I have tiger blood. Let's throw it to the catch-all.
Okay, I have that right here. Here we go. Look, I'm gonna click it. We're only
asking you to pick up what we're throwing down because you're not catching it in the first place. Welcome to the catch-all.
Man, look at those fingers playing that bass.
Oh yeah. Sticks it.
Hey, Rip Gilbert Gottfried and John Candy. Before I go any further.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you guys think about the offer to buy out? 500. Scratch that. 525.
And
so
any other context, it may have been kind of funny.
Right.
Nobody's that stupid, right?
Like Mr. Burns to Homer Simpson, I could see that happening, and I could be
Sure.
like, ah.
The mom left him half of everything trope, but they don't develop that at all.
No.
Yeah, they should have. They should have done more with that. The blonde chick, Allison, would never have been interested. I said before, it's true. She just would have no interest in Fred whatsoever.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Talking horses, any animal for that matter, it always looks terrible. And in my opinion, it's never funny.
No.
I've never laughed at that. From commercial to movie, whatever, doesn't matter for me. It's never funny.
No.
Also, it's really, really obvious that that's not Bobcat's voice. It's the thing you do when you're in middle school and you want attention from the cooler kids. And they're like, wow, like, look at how ashamed this person is willing to be for attention. So we'll give it to them.
Yeah, to that point, I wanted to ask the question at some point. Who is his audience?
Not me.
All right. Bobcat Goldthwait did have a character that he played in his stand-up that was just, I don't know, an eccentric, like, I hate to use the word, but spaz. And where he would just go extreme in his vocalizations and his characterizations and be just an extreme version of somebody with emotional, what's the word I'm looking for?
Damage?
Yes. Emotional damage.
Because I know go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I have nothing else.
I know even he has very much tried to distance himself from that character.
Right. And he did to distance himself from the character, and he doesn't have any relationship with the character at this point. He just used that as a hook to get people in. And at this point, he realizes it was not necessarily the best idea.
Yeah.
But it got people at the time. And at this point, he wants to just move past it. And it's kind of hard to move past with some generation. And then, of course, with the newer generation, has to kind of like just engage them in whatever work he's working on currently, which is more movies / videos that are avant-garde, let's say.
All right. So it's like he basically was throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick, and the one thing he probably didn't want to stick is what paid his bills for 5-10 years or whatever, and he's just like, fuck.
At least, yes.
I feel like that's kind of what happened.
What happened was he threw this voice at the crowd that watches her, and they were like, all right, half of us are in.
Yes,
and that
exactly.
was enough for Hollywood to be like, okay.
Yes, exactly.
All right, well, let's keep moving. It's so obvious. Okay, so why don't the other jockeys hear his voice, Don's voice?
Yeah. Is it like Rugrats rules or like Maggie Simpson rules or like Stewie Griffin rules where only people on the same frequency can hear them, but it's just noises to the adults?
No, because Allison and Bobcat, Fred, and
that's true.
Probably a couple of other people heard him. So
yeah,
I guess
humans can hear him, and then they're on the racetrack, and he's just talking to the horses. in human, and the jockeys are not surprised by that. Which
I
they
guess.
I was trying to help the movie. I see how now that's.
So you remember when he's like, "Oh, padded elevator, nice."
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't an elevator, and that was obvious. It was like a gate with pads over it, so that the horse felt comfortable walking into this small room. It was clearly not an actual elevator, right?
Yeah.
I thought John Candy was better than this.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
I don't know how finances work, and because you see some people do some pretty good movies or pretty widely received movies, and if they don't manage their finances correctly, even if they're smart about it, just because you're an artist, you're not a finance guy, you're gonna be broke in a couple of years. So I can imagine if you have a kid or some medical bills come up and you're not union, and you just gotta take the gig. I don't know what he's healthy level of overweight. I don't know what his situation was, so I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Let's be body positive. He was a healthy man, even though he died early of a heart attack because he was well overweight. He was probably fine.
It's a fair assumption. Go ahead, go for it.
Yeah.
Did Bobcat Goldthwait do the voice of Pain or Panic from Hercules, the animated Disney movie?
Maybe.
I'm willing. I didn't look this up, but I'm willing to bet he did.
Probably.
Did the years line up?
Well, I mean, it's mid '90s. They probably were like, "Hey, Bobcat, come into the studio to do that." It's so similar that I can't imagine it wasn't him.
Bobcat character was alive in the early 80s when the first Police Academy came out, so I can't imagine he would mimic something from a Disney movie in the later 80s.
I looked it up. Comedian Bobcat Goldthwait is now requesting Disney remove his voice after Hercules release in 1997. He voiced Pain and who? Yeah,
Pain and Panic.
Cut off. Yeah. So he after James Gunn got fired, Bobcat was like, "Take my voice out of the movie."
Wait, so he really did do it?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I just looked it up.
I fucking knew it. This is what I'm good at. Was it coffee or just coffee? What was the name of the stock? Coffee, spelled different, or
no, it was coffee.
So they were buying coffee?
Yeah. It's a hot ticket.
Just coffee? They were just buying, from the head conglomerate of coffee, they were buying coffee?
The refreshing beverage made out of roasted beans. Yeah.
Do you know the movie Trading Places?
Yeah, I know it. I haven't seen it.
One of the big stock trading items is frozen concentrated orange juice, no brand.
All right.
So it's possible.
Yeah. Or it's at least in the zeitgeist of film writers that know that's the thing you could say on screen and be passable or something.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Speaking of which, super kitschy graphics and sound slide whistles / light bulbs. What was going on with this is one of those kid elements that you were talking about, Bob. There was a point where there was a light bulb graphic that actually twisted into his head, right?
Oh, yeah. Right.
And then you might have heard it at the end or the beginning of certain clips that we played, but whoop 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 beep 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 just really kitty sounds that I just didn't understand why they were throwing that in if it wasn't to target a younger audience than most of their jokes. So,
right.
Did they steal the horse transport vehicle? Why would Fred have one, I guess?
Right. Yeah. If they did, I'm an old 1930s movie kind of guy, and there was a movie called animal. Excuse me. I'm sorry. A Day at the Races with the Marx Brothers, where they carted a racehorse with an ambulance type vehicle.
Okay, yeah. I wondered because like they're like he and the horse are talking, and then all of a sudden they're in a vehicle that allows for a horse.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, why does Fred have one of those? Like they must have stolen it.
Yeah.
Right.
All of the movie is set up for the race,
Yeah.
but I don't even care who wins.
No, there's nothing at stake at all.
If
No.
he thinks that on the subject, if he thinks that Don isn't worth the money, this is Walter, then why bet anything? They're like making fun of him as like a horrible horse that can't win a race. Why bet anything against him? You don't want to win him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The lineup of potential jockeys was a trope.
Yeah.
It was.
There's a guy with a $sign jacket. Thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
He's like walking away from the scene. He doesn't have a single line. He's just like a henchman. And he's got a $sign on the back of his jacket.
Do you guys, Chris, you specifically, but Bob, it might have been in your region too, growing up, that infomercial with the guy, he looked like the Riddler, but he was covered in $signs and a green suit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
dancing around
I
like I
remember him.
The downtown green
wish I
fountain.
remembered
You have gold and silver cash.
him.
Exactly. Yes.
The uncriminal Riddler.
Yes.
Why
Yes.
can't the other jockeys? Okay, I said that already. The plan is contingent on Don catching up with the other horses in the first place.
Yeah.
He's not fast enough to catch up to them. But
Yeah.
the whole plan is riding on the fact that he can get there.
Yeah.
So terrible plan, terrible movie. Would they have a place for them at the race? So, I mean, did they have to get tested? Did they have to go through a background check? Did they need approval? Why was there a slot open at the races? Because all these rich people want their horses to race. Why is there just an available slot for this for Don?
This is kickboxer logic with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Remember, like, he's like, we're gonna go to Taiwan and we're gonna kick some ass. It's like, you can't just book a flight, fly there, and like just join their bracket or their rankings and just start contending.
Right.
Like you said, there needs to be background checks, drug tests, like all sorts of shit to go into place. Sponsorships, maybe. You can't
need to make your way up the totem to like.
You can't just happen yourself upon a racetrack and have a slot ready for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was untrue by my estimation. Nobody thinks it's weird that all the horses are fleeing the track.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be worried about some like bioterrorism at this point.
Yeah.
Like, literally every horse that Don comes up to, all the horses are like fleeing the scene as fast as possible.
Yeah.
This is not standard conduct in a horse race.
No.
Yeah.
So I would be curious, like, what's going on there. So at the very end, Walter, I think, Horsemouth, is like, you're not going to hold me to that bet, are you? Why does he care? Because it's not in writing.
Yeah, I didn't realize it wasn't in writing. I was just like,
It's
show
not
up,
writing. They didn't sign shit.
Pick your butt. Yeah.
Right.
They didn't sign shit, so he doesn't have to give anything to anybody. He lost the race, but what does it matter? It's his word against Fred's.
Yeah.
The entire thing is held up by the fact that this guy has honor, and clearly he doesn't, so he just keeps all of the brokerage firm, all of the horses.
Yeah.
No big deal. He didn't sign shit. It doesn't, none of it matters.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
No, nothing.
The alternate ending.
Okay, here we go.
Or you can do this, or you can do that, or you can do this, or you can do that, or you can do this, or you can do that. Just pick one.
Bobcat gets caught committing fraud. gets raped by Secretariat in federal prison. The end.
You want to see this biscuit?
Like, isn't insider training like a big like thing you're not supposed to do? He's getting tips from the inside and then investing against them or for them.
Yeah, I mean, inside tips from a horse, though.
But I mean, they're right.
Is that illegal?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know what the horse politics are on Wall Street, unfortunately.
You guys want to hear some bad credit names?
Yes.
Please.
Go for it, Rob.
Bad credit names. Bad credit names. Bad credit names. Yeah.
Okay, I don't have a lot, and they're not good. Michael Dinner.
Okay.
Mary Gross.
Okay.
Okay.
Gary Klugger.
That's just unfortunate. It's not like a bad name. It's just
No. Chino Fats Williams.
Right.
And Jim Utterback.
Is that your number one?
Yeah.
All right. I like
That's it. All right, let's compare the movies.
Nothing compares. Nothing.
Compare to you. Geostorm and Hot to Trot. Geostorm somehow won last week. I don't know how.
Yeah.
This week we're going to compare it to Hot to Trot, which is worse.
Yeah.
Worst of its kind. 27.8 and worst of its kind for Geostorm. That's pretty good. But 47.2
Yeah.
and worst with 0%. Bob, if I look at what you sent me, I will kick you out of the chat.
Sorry.
47.2% and worst at 0%. Hot to Trot clearly take this one, yes?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
With the pitch, we're looking at a 4-star this time. We're going to Chris. And it's against Bob's 3.5 star. So I guess it goes to Geostorm. So 1-1. Dialogue. Hot to Trot's worse.
Yes.
It just is. Production. Do you take the debate between realistic fiction and fictional science over marketing towards adults, but it's a kids movie?
I have a hard time with this one because I feel like I don't know. I feel like Geostorm made a bigger faux pas in terms of like trying to market this the way I don't know toward a realistic fiction when Hot to Trot was never quite clear on who they were marketing this toward.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost the same problem. They couldn't clearly define who they were targeting.
I can give a tiebreaker that you guys may or may not agree with.
Go for it.
I think Hot to Trot is not good, but it's about 45 minutes shorter than G.
Geostorm was so incredibly long.
That's the thing is like when they're both that bad, I'd go with the shorter one because it's not like it wasn't like a guilty pleasure bad. They're both bad. There's like no redeeming quality. So I'd rather just if I had gun to head pick one, I'd pick the shorter one.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Offensive. You guys want the minigame?
Yeah, please.
Please.
Okay. Leaving the NASA guy hanging by not answering his question. Or Asian stereotype florist.
That one.
Oh, yeah. Florists.
Okay. 11 a.m. drunk childcare. Or staggering another horse by their sexual preferences.
I'm going to say 11 a.m. drunk parenting.
I was gonna say the horse one. You're talking about the bundle of sticks line.
Yes, I am.
'Cause I still don't think the dad in Geostorm was like I equated that to like having a beer while mowing the lawn. He wasn't like sloppy at 11 a.m. He was just like doing yard work and working on a solar panel, you know. And he was disgraced by the whole world for like trying to save them.
I agree with you, Rob. But since Bob cast a vote the other way, I will quickly try. I did not think there was any chance we would tie break this one, and we still don't have to.
Okay.
But because Bob cast a vote the other way, let me take a quick look back at the most offensive from last week. And we have this space savior bullshit where just a ship comes and saves them out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Versus telling your Hispanic horse to pull off to the side of the road because there's green card checking immigrant agents at the finish line.
That one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I agree. Hot Trot is more offensive.
Yeah, Hot Trot.
Oh my god. I'm also going to give Hot Trot the worst acting, unless you guys disagree.
No, it's Geostorm didn't suffer from bad acting. I mean, it had not great moments in acting, like when the guy barely reacted to the dude being sucked out into space. But like overall, like it was okay.
We're gonna lose him.
Everything Gerard Butler did was bad acting, but it's not as bad as Hot to Trot.
Yeah, it's like in Geostorm, like no one's Daniel Day-Lewis, but like no one's also Bobcat Goldthwait. So
that is a well articulated argument.
Yeah.
How about the demerits? We're gonna go with. Although Hot to Trot has already won, just a heads up.
Okay.
There's no Geostorm in Geostorm.
Okay.
But they got a 0% on Rotten Tomato for Hot to Trot. Literally, 0%. No one gave them a point.
And then I just thought of this. I mean, there might be elevators, but horses can't walk downstairs. If he got up to the penthouse and there was no elevator, how'd he get back down?
Right.
Yeah.
Just
good point.
I don't know if I didn't. I think there's an elevator, but like I don't care enough to double check. But just
a little catch-all for you. All right. Next week, it looks like. Let me check the poll. Okay, Judge Dredd has won.
Oh, Judge Dredd. Okay.
Judge Dredd.
I cannot wait to do this Stallone movie. We haven't talked to Stallone in a while. Good friend of the pod. He's our buddy. We cannot wait to have him in studio to talk about his classic from 1980 something, maybe 1990. Who knows?
It's 90, I think. It's in the 90s.
Judge Dredd.
Oh yes, I'm so excited.
In the future, where one man is the law.
I've not seen this, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Don't forget, Rob Schneider is in this one. That's his first appearance. I think.
I love Rob Schneider. Like, not necessarily for his. I mean, Deuce Bigelow kicks ass, the first one, but just I saw a video on TikTok recently. He got pulled over, like, or his car broke down, and the cops came out, and like he was just like super cool to everybody. Like he was like signing stuff, like being really humble. I was like, oh, you've heard of my films? Like very nice, well spoken.
When you said you loved Rob Schneider, I almost ended the chat and let you guys take over.
I love his personality. He's one of he's one of those guys where he doesn't take himself seriously and he's approachable. And I think that's something very rare in a lot of his type.
Well, it's good because no one else takes him seriously. And hey guys, I had a lot of fun this podcast, despite the fact that I was clearly boiling over with anger because Hot to Trot is the worst movie I've ever seen. And Bob, I don't know. This is a major demerit on our friendship, and I haven't known you for too long, but I don't like you as much as I used to. We'll see if you can recover next week. But thank you to the listener. I cannot wait to check out Judge Dredd for next week. Ugh.
Yep. Anything you want to say for yourself, Bob?
Oh my God. I want to say, Chris, I love you, but I feel like it's not going to come It's not going to hit the level I want it to, so I'm sorry.
Well, I love you too, Bob. You're forgiven for now.
I think Bob's poll contribution last week for this week's episode is going to make for some entertaining content. So I'm going to roll a theme song, theworstmovieevermade.com. Find all our stuff there. We're now in Technicolor 2-dimensional broadcast on YouTube every Sunday.